So with half of the country just waking up to the realization that the President of the United States is not a Manchurian candidate, I think it's important to go back and look at how this mass deception was accomplished. And while it seems very obvious, it was so powerful that it was almost resulted in a bureaucratic coup. And the way this was achieved primarily was through control of information. And so I want to show you another very obvious, very blatant example that you can look up yourself, so you can begin to learn how to pick apart what mainstream sources provide you with and start asking yourself questions. What is not being said here? What am I not being shown? What deception is hidden in plain sight? Because once you see through the deception, there's no unseeing it. And I think a great example here is you go to Wikipedia and you look up Pope Paul VI Audience Hall. And so here's the Wikipedia page, and I just want to show you how easily and how much can be hidden when you go to this mainstream source. So if I were just to look this up, I was a Catholic, I was interested in this building, I would read the Paul VI Audience Hall, also known as the Hall of Pontifical Audiences, is a building in Rome named for Pope Paul VI, with a seating capacity of 6,300, designed in reinforced concrete by Italian architect Pier Luigi Nervi, and completed in 1971. It was constructed on land donated by the Knights of Columbus. It lies partially in Vatican City, but mostly in Italy. The Italian part of the building is treated as an extraterritorial area of the Holy See and is used by the Pope as an alternative to St. Peter's Square when conducting his Wednesday morning general audience. It is dominated by an 800 quintal, 8 metric ton, bronze and copper alloy sculpture by Pericle Fazzini entitled It's the Resurrection. A smaller meeting hall known as Synod Hall is located in the building as well. The hall sits at the east end on the second floor. It has a solar roof. On May 25th, 2007, it was revealed that the roof of the building was to be covered with 2,400 photovoltaic panels, generating sufficient electricity to supply all the heating, cooling, and lighting needs of the building throughout the year. The system was donated by Solar Wind, a German manufacturer, and valued at $1.5 million. It was officially placed into service on 26 November 2008 and was awarded the 2008 European Solar Prize in the category for solar architecture and urban development. And you can see down here, there's the map of Vatican City, and here's the building. This is your mainstream source. This is all that you have. You can click on the picture here. There you can see there's the building. There it sits in town. There's the photo cells on top. What are you not seeing? Let's look at this statue, the Resurrection. The Resurrection is an 80 metric ton bronze copper alloy by Pericle Fazzini in the Pope Paul VI Audience Hall, intended to capture the anguish of 20th century mankind living under the threat of nuclear war. The Resurrection depicts Jesus rising from a nuclear crater in the Garden of Gethsemane. Okay, and you can see there's right here. There's the Pope, there's his statue, and I want to point out something else. Take note of the fact that at the very top of the screen, by Jesus' face here, the top of the statue is cut off, and that will be important later. You can see it's a pretty creepy picture, but okay. That's where the Pope sits. That's the inside of the hall. This is all the information on Wikipedia, and we have this kind of strange way this photo was taken. Again, keep in mind what the mainstream sources aren't showing you. So that's what we have here. So, one of the things I would say is, what's it look like inside the building? Let's see some different angles. Well, you can do a quick search here, and there's some very strange things that begin to pop up. For one, when you look at it from this angle, the building looks an awful lot like a snake. If you take that to be the eye right there, it has a very serpentine shape. You think, well, maybe that's just a coincidence, although there are these photocells on top, and just like a snake, it is powered by the sun. Well, what's it look like on the inside? Still think it doesn't look like a snake? Here you see, for comparison, there is a window on each side. They look like a snake's eyes. And over here, you've got the two teeth. And in the middle, you have the statue of Jesus with the Pope sitting underneath, almost as if he were the tongue of the snake, the living tongue. Here you can see the inside of the building. There's the eyes. And this is the Pope's view. And you have to ask yourself, why was this not in the Wikipedia article? Don't you think that's remotely interesting? Wouldn't you like to know if the Catholic building has any sort of unusual characteristics about it worth noting? Also worth noting, this is a Catholic building, supposedly, and I don't see a single crucifix in the whole thing. No crosses, no Virgin Mary, no Christian or Catholic specific imagery in the building whatsoever. You may think, well, that's just coincidence. Here's another picture of it, where you can more clearly see you have the fangs, you have snake-like skin, you have the slits for eyes, and you can see right there is our Pope. So, it gets even weirder. The way this building is built is, here's Vatican City. It's outlined here in green or yellow or whatever color that is. This is considered the keys to the kingdom of heaven. So, in ecclesiastical heraldry, papal coat of arms, and those of the Holy See and Vatican City State include an image of crossed keys to represent the metaphorical keys of the office of St. Peter, the keys of heaven, or the keys of the kingdom of heaven, that according to Roman Catholic teaching, Jesus promised to St. Peter, empowering him to take binding actions. In the Gospel of Matthew 16:19, Jesus says to Peter, "I will give you the keys of the kingdom of heaven, and whatever you bind on earth shall be bound in heaven, and whatever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven." Now, I want you to pay attention here. These fangs, they're at the very front of this building. Okay? Look at the way this is positioned on this map. So, the outline here is the keys to the kingdom of heaven. And let's see if I can make it red. This building is half in Vatican City and half outside of it. And there you can see it right here. And the teeth of the snake are actually biting down into Vatican City here. So all you have, the only part that's actually in Vatican City is where the Pope sits between the two poisonous snake's teeth. I mean, you can see that outline right here. And then here's the key to heaven. Whatsoever you loose on earth shall be loosed in heaven. And so if you think it maybe just is that map, you can see it again down here. There's Pope Paul VI Audience Hall. And there it is. There's the border. And there's the snake's snout with the poison teeth biting down onto the keys of heaven right there. There's St. Peter's Square, St. Peter's Basilica, and there's our poisonous red teeth biting down. Now, it gets even weirder. Let's look at our statue of Jesus, which the Pope here is sitting under. And you'll remember in the Wikipedia article, there was a line and it was cutting off the top. You couldn't see Jesus' hands for the most part in the Wikipedia. And it kind of cut off the top of his hair. And the question is, well, why not just include the whole picture? Well, because this statue is actually an optical illusion. If you notice, the features of Jesus are not carved in very deeply. They're very smooth. Because what you have here is this optical illusion that's done with the hair. So if you fill in this little spot here, and then draw an outline around the statue here, the image becomes a little more clear. And if you just kind of take this, you see it's not actually a statue of Jesus. It's a statue of a gigantic snake underneath the Pope and masses of human beings suffering. And so you can then clean this up. Do you see it now? You see the optical illusion that they pulled off and they hid in plain sight in the Wikipedia article. They made no reference to all of this snake imagery. Let's do that again. Just take this little hole in Jesus' hair, and then you can clearly see the Pope sitting between snake's teeth and a snake building is not actually under a statue of Jesus. He's under the statue of a giant, monstrous snake. So that's got to make you wonder what's going on. And here you can see it even more obviously in a close-up. Notice how the face is tilted away and the features aren't very sharp. So if you block that out, and you outline it, the image becomes extremely clear, extremely obvious. It's right there, and it's hiding in plain sight. Don't you think you would mention this in your Wikipedia article about potential controversies? So, I don't know what all of this means, but it certainly is something that's being hidden from you. And so the Pope is sitting here, injecting poison into both earth and heaven, serving as the living tongue of the serpent, the satanic snake. And what is it that the tongue of Satan has been advocating for? Climate change, one world global government, and unregulated mass third world immigration.